All right, let's see here. This thing picks up. Da-na-na-na. All right, I've got my my chat is on my phone here because I've actually moved back up to my room finally. Yeah, it's working. Yay! I've actually moved back up to my little studio space and got my droids back up here and everything, which is cool. Still got to finish some things, but at least I can be back in this room and I'm not stuck in the dining room anymore. Anyway, I have an hour to do drone. Not even an hour, really. I've been working like crazy, which is why I've missed a couple days here. Been doing a bunch of ZBrush for a YouTube channel called Corridor Digital, and I don't know if they'll show me in the video or not that they're working on. I hope they do, and it should be good. Let's see here. But we're gonna do drones for a little bit. I've got I think I can see the chat here. Again, I have it on my phone next to me. Usually I have it on another laptop, but that laptop's downstairs. So we're gonna try this. So if you write a comment, give me a moment to respond, and I'll get to you. Let's go fly around here. I gotta keep these hands fresh and good so that when I go to get a real drone, I don't crash it right away. All right, let's see. Let's get back to it. Whoosh. I have the music on in here, and it's loud in my ears. Let's see. The last time I was here, I was checking out. Oh yeah, I gotta turn my controller on. That would help. It's weird it doesn't let me turn the controller on while it's plugged in. I gotta turn it on like this, and then I plug it in on the top here. It says USB joystick, and then you hit the little wheelie thing. Oh, but now we're good to go. Now I have a joystick connected to the thing. This is too loud. I'm gonna put it like this. It's like I can hear the drone a little bit, but I haven't flown with the headphones on in a few weeks. Single player. So we've been going to this what is it called, like this poly world. What is it? Dynamic poly world. And there's all these different tracks that are made by a bunch of people. Hey, how's it going? Are you in Vegas right now? Did you travel? Or I saw you packing up your stuff. Whoop Cube Madness. Welcome to the Jungle. I did that one. Micro Roman. I'm trying to remember which ones I did yesterday. Pro Spec Cup. Alright, this one's only got 4 stars. Let's try it anyway. I don't trust this star system, like how people rate these, since like someone may have not liked it and then they're just give up. Come on, back to full scale. You know, let's look. Oh, there's a wall right at the beginning. That's why nobody likes it. Oh, here we go. I guess once you get going, it's okay. Oh, this one's kind of cool. Oh, geez. This one's actually pretty cool. I don't know why it's only got 4 stars. Maybe the actual track, like if you're doing it in a race setting, isn't as cool, but I just want to fly around for a little bit. Make sure I don't screw my, well, look at, oh my god. Oh, wow. Yeah, this level's cool. I kind of like it. Yeah, so I've been doing a bunch of ZBrush work. Everything, fortunately, right now is on the printer doing what it's supposed to do. So I might actually hang out and get back to do some Patreon work here now that my work is printing. Oh my god. Yeah, this level's cool. I don't know why people... Look at this, the dinosaur bones. It's like Thunder Mountain. I mean, so much cooler. Look at this big knight. Looks like from Lord of the Rings or something. Yeah, this level's cool. Da-da-da. I'm heading off tomorrow. Right on. Voodoo RC. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Dawson Boyle. Hey, John England. Evening. Hello. Wow, thanks everybody for stopping in. It's a little bit later than normal. I almost wasn't going to fly tonight, but I've been frantically printing a bunch of stuff. Basically, over the last few days, this project came up, and I had to get a scan from something, which I feel like it's not going to be long before it's out on the internet, so I'm just not going to say it. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be in this or not, but I worked on it, and I'm sure I'll get a mention at least. But I'd wait for a scan, and then the scan took forever to get here, and then I had to frantically work on the scan from, what is today, Tuesday, Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, today's Wednesday. I had to work on the scan starting Monday and to have all these giant pieces printed by tomorrow. And it was a lot of work. It was really crazy. And then the scan they gave me wasn't even like a full scan. I had to like recreate a whole big chunk of it. It was nuts. I have a new toy coming sometime today. The first, what is it? First guy, X20 Pro AW in orange for both drones and helicopters. Oh, that's kind of rad. I gotta see how that is when it's there. I'm excited to see like anything new. I'm kind of in the same boat. I bought a bunch of resin and stuff because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make a bunch of those prop things I did for the Star Wars Cantina, because I always sell out of them really quick, and I was like, I could do that, and then I could probably get a drone right after I do that, because it should be enough. So I'm doing a run of like probably 5 at first, and see if they sell out. I'll make more. The last time I made them, I made like 20. I sold all of them so fast. Thinking of making a 3PO out of semi-flexible filament and TC90, so it's super durable. See, that's a really good idea. I don't know if you saw on the that. So there's, I feel like there's like a filament. I've seen it, but I haven't tried it before. There's one. It's like, I think it's like a mix of TPU and like PLA or something. It's like less flexible than PLA, but more flexible than PETG, and it seems awesome. There's also this stuff that's like it almost prints like an EVA foam. The consistency, and there's this girl online that does all this like cosplay armor out of it. It's really cool stuff. And I took a screenshot of what the product was, but I have to go dig it up. But it prints, like I said, it feels like EVA foam, but it prints. It's got like a squishiness to it and everything. It's really cool, and it finishes nice. And that would be amazing for a set of 3PO legs, because you can make them, 1/8 inch thick or something, the actual walls, and it'd be super forgiving. And that TC90 would probably work great on there. If I make a couple shorts of the give me a couple shots of the unboxing. So it's funny because like where the drone is, going from one to the other, my eyes are old man eyes. I'll make a couple of shorts of the unboxing. I want to get more in unboxing, making videos. Dude, yeah, definitely do. I think just making videos, first of all, for someone like me, I love watching stuff like that because it's informative. You know what I mean? You see what people's thoughts are. Sometimes unboxings are great just so you know what's in the package, because I've got things I'm like, is this missing something? And I'll go watch unboxing videos to see if everybody else got the same shit that I did. Or if it's like mine's, missing parts, or hey, this didn't come with any batteries. Does everybody else come with batteries? And they're like, oh no, it doesn't. Okay, we're good. Stuff like that is really handy. And also, I like to know people's initial thoughts on things. Oh, I made it. I feel like that's always, oops, shit, I crashed out. Yeah, knowing people's initial thoughts on products is good, and on long-term stuff too. I like reviews. It's funny because I don't. My channel, I don't consider, oh, look at it, there's Over the Hill. I don't consider like a review channel by any stretch of the imagination, but when I've got something that I like or dislike, I will try to make a review of it, because other people's reviews have been very useful for me. I actually need to do a couple. I have my watch that I use when I run and everything. It's been really good. I've had it over a year now, and I was going to do a year-long review, and I haven't done it yet. I saved the frickin' box and everything. Where is it? It's right around here somewhere. I brought it in here. It's like, don't forget to do the review. But yeah, it's been hard to make any videos the last couple days. I'm really worried about with 3PO there's a little thing in the way here. Can I move this? Flying with 3PO. Yeah, dude, it is stressful flying with that costume. Mine has been, I've traveled with it quite a few times. I don't know if I somewhere I show you this. I don't know if I have one in here. I make a printout when I travel that I put in with my stuff that is basically like, this is, here's what you're looking at. So when someone opens the case, it's easy to identify what is in there. Because I have like one of those big stupid Husky bins, the 50-gallon things, which honestly I'm going to change out to get 2 smaller ones, because I could fly with 2 smaller bins for way less money than to fly with that big Husky bin. And some places don't charge me extra for it, but some places do. Sometimes the same place won't charge me one way, but then they'll charge me like $400 the next way. It's crazy. So yeah, but I have a little sheet that I put in there, so if the TSA goes in there, they see what it is, and it just has notes like, hey, if you unbox it or you take it out, please put it back like this. Here's my, my information if you need to get hold of me. And I think they usually see that and they just don't bother, because they've opened my case a bunch of times. I have a whole collection of TSA slips that I keep in my 3PO travel box, just for like, keepsakes for every time I've gone somewhere. Almost every time I get one. And the last time I traveled with it, they broke some stuff. They broke something on one of the arms. They chipped the shit out of the front of one of my legs. And I think 3PO is actually my shop. I can probably see it. Like, there's a big chip on the front of the leg right there. That happened in TSA. And then the arms they broke was actually kind of good, because I've been working on a different set of arms for a while, and I just never had an excuse to change them. And my other arms are getting really, really beat up. And so the TSA kind of actually gave me a little, can't make it under, gave me a little excuse. That's a link to a protocol file display, maybe a plastic hard case. Yeah, the plastic hard cases are good. They're definitely like protective for the parts. Like, I wanted to build like a set of flight cases that came apart, so when I travel, it's 2 bags, because it is, to put an extra bag on is maybe like $50 maybe, but to have one oversized bag that's over the weight limit is like $200. So it's just so much cheaper to have 2 separate ones. But I wanted to make them so that you could fly when you check them in, they're 2, but when I go to take them places, I can clip them together into one thing, or at least strap them together so that I can move them all in one shot. And I used to take, for years and years, I had this cheap Sterilite box. I didn't fly with it, but it would go to everything. It was perfect. And I would put it on a skateboard and transport on a skateboard. I like that so much more than the stupid Husky box I've been using. The Husky box is good, but I just don't like to have to lift up one end of it to go anywhere. The one with the skateboard was so easy to use. I really liked it. I can't fly with my big bin, and it costs a lot more. Yeah, it does cost a lot more. It's crazy. But the thing is, just wear it on the plane. I mean, can you imagine? I think that it's like doing the 3PO stuff is one of those. I always tell people, like, I hate putting the thing on. It's fun when I'm in it, but I do not like the process of suiting up at all. It's just, I have to like psych myself up. I mean, for always. And it's not that it's like scary or whatever. I just know that I'm about to be, locked in for however long. I just had a friend write me tonight about some event. They're just trying to find out, what it would be for me to, how much it would cost to bring 3PO out. And they had like a itinerary, and the 3PO like appearance time was so short. And I was like, look, dude, if I'm in the costume, I'll do it for 3 times that long, and for the same price, because I don't want to go through all the trouble of putting that suit on and then basically just be there for 30 minutes and then take it off. That sucks. It takes me longer to like set it up and put it away than that. I would rather wear it for at least 90 minutes. But yeah, when you're in Vegas, you should definitely try to get out. I know it might be tricky with the ride situation, but definitely go explore if you can. At least go up and down the strip and look around. I would say that if you've got 3PO there, it would be crazy not to go at least to Red Rock. It's not far, and maybe someone on the production would drive you over there and do photos, especially if you have an R2. If you have an R2 there, and you could take them out to the desert and do good photos, that is like the best. That's the best around. Alright, what level am I at? I forgot to look at the name of this one. I kind of like this level. It's a 4-star. We're going to look at a different one now, but I like this one. Let's see here. But yeah, I've been running my printers like crazy, and I thought I was going to have all my pieces done. I have like a couple of parts left, but one piece I was printing on the Prusa, and something happened. I could hear like there's a chunk that was sort of floating on the inside, and I kept like scraping when the print would move, and it snagged, and it caused the bed to slip, and so I got a really, really bad layer offset. I had to start that one over just a little while ago. So, and the thing is, due tomorrow, like we go in tomorrow to set this whole thing up, and then we shoot with it on Friday. So it's been freaking crazy. Oh yeah, change track. That's what I meant to do. VRL 11 Pro Spec Cup. Okay, gotta remember that. Season Pro 6. Let's try this one. Alright. Wow, look at this. It's weird how sometimes I'll open it and it'll stay full screen, and sometimes it minimizes. It's like it starts you below ground. Look at this. Oh my god, I made it. It's like weird construction site. This one's me. The last one already more fun. Oh my god, it just crashed out. Certainly will ask about going somewhere to get some pics. They want to do a promo images, but not sure if they will do a studio. So, yeah, right outside of the name of the road, but there's like this, like a loop road that goes around, and the one end that is, I'm trying to remember what direction it is, but like if you're looking at it from, if you're going from downtown Vegas out, the side that's to the right is where like Red Rock is. It's such a cool area. The rocks are awesome. It'd be such a good spot to go set up and do good photos. It very, very much feels like Tatooine. And you got to remember, like, Death Valley is only like, I don't know, 90 minutes away, something like that. So it's got that feel. Like, it's got the desert feel. It's got really cool rocks. And it's like right there, right outside of Vegas, maybe 25 minutes away, if that. I think it's probably less than that. And really easy to park, and there's like some, sometimes some of these parks will like, oh my god, look at this! Oh my god, look at this underground spot. This is cool. Oh my god, I felt like I just did a Mario cheat. Yeah, there's good spots to park, but some of the national parks and stuff kind of frown upon doing like photo shoots, but just make it quick. They're usually like, they might come and be like, hey, you can't do this, and be like, oh my gosh, just sorry, can we just finish up? And they'll be like, yeah, but then no more. Just tell them it's not commercial or anything, and usually it's okay. Don't forget to like the video. Yeah. Death Valley would be sweet. It definitely would. There's some areas there that are amazing. You know what? I'll be back out there in July. I've spent a lot of time in Death Valley over the last couple of years, and in like full, 24 hours, 1 mile at a time across literally from Badwater Basin all the way over to Mount Whitney, crewing for runners. So I've spent just like a ton of time, and I've run 2 marathons worth of distance in Death Valley and spread out. So it's not like I just ran 26 miles. I ran 26 miles, but like spread out. Like I would take on, a few miles every so many miles. And there's like the sand dunes where they filmed R2-D2 at the beginning of New Hope, and he's like, "Go that way, then you'll be malfunction within a day." That scene where R2's driving away, that is there in Death Valley. The Jawas, when the Jawas catch R2, that's in Death Valley. But every time I've gone by that canyon, it's like 1 in the morning. So last time I was there, I went right up to the entrance to the canyon, but it was like pitch black, super super dark. I had a flashlight and I was shining it in the rocks. I was like, oh my god, I've not been there in the daytime. The one time I went there in the daytime was in 2013, and there was a government shutdown, and I couldn't go to that spot. I couldn't drive back to it, and I was gonna walk to it. It was before I had like GPS on my watch, and I walked way down this road by myself. There was these big concrete barriers out on the road, so you couldn't park. Like, you had to park and walk. So it was walking way down. There's nobody out there, and I'm from Florida. It's humid. I never felt. I don't feel thirsty almost ever, and I started to feel really thirsty, and which is weird for me. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. I was really far away, and I almost slipped and fucking killed myself trying to climb up on some ridge by myself, nobody around. I would 100% would have died if I had fallen down that thing and got hurt. But I think next time, you're technically not supposed to fly in the parks, but I can check if I get my license, maybe I can get approval to fly. I don't know how that works. I mean, people fly, and we've seen drone shots of the parks that are like legally done, so there's some way to get permission, I'm sure. Let's see. Change track. Let's check out another one. Season 8 track. Let's go. If this one's better again. Oh wait, this looks like the same one, but it's almost the same damn place. Alright, we're doing this. Yeah, I don't want to go to this one. Towers of Insanity. Okay. Oh my god. So it just starts you outside the map? Is that what's happening? Oh wow. How do I do this? But yeah, Death Valley, really freaking awesome. Oh wow, look at this. Oh, I see what they said, Towers of Insanity. Does it make you go out of the map every time you go to the top? Yep. Oh no. Okay, I don't like that. I think I looked at this one last time. What else they have? They have the overlook for Mos Eisley. You'll never find more that the Mos Eisley spaceport. When they look down from Obi-Wan's little hut, the shot looking toward it is of Death Valley. They filmed the shot of them close up, looking at them looking out. They shot in Tunisia, but the shot looking the other way, they shot in Death Valley. And then the shot walking to Jabba's palace is there, and I got choked up going back there. I was like, oh my god, this is. If you look at my videos from like 2013, I have a video that I took after I'd gone to the Jabba's palace road. It was crazy. There's nobody around because it was closed. The whole place was closed. I parked way down the street and I walked way down this dirt road, and it's like danger, mines could, potential collapse, all this stuff, like, basically telling you to be careful walking back there. But like nobody around. Tesseract. What is this one? What about making your own map? I want to. I don't know how to do it yet. I have to kind of figure that. Well, look at this craziness. Oh my god. Is this the hell am I looking at? Look at this insanity. I really like to make my own map. I need to figure out how to do it. These girls have been able to pull some good cameras for their parody video. I'm hoping they have some cool people instead. So they're real nice. I talked to them on the phone. I thought they were nice. I told you the whole situation. What is this? I don't even know what's happening here. Okay, this is not. I don't like this maze thing. What is this one called? Oh my god, I just got lost. Towers, Ultimate Tesseract Apocalypse. I don't know. We'll skip to this one. They were really nice, but I just thought the interaction was sort of awkward. Like I don't know. I mean, I told you about the whole thing. Where am I? I'm like outside this big building. No, we're not doing this one. I don't like these building ones. I want to fly outside. Temple of Doom. That sounds cool. It's a visual mess. It is. I don't know what to look at. Oh my god. Look at this. Oh, this is kind of awesome. Did I come here already? Yeah, I did. Because this one, it felt like I was going really, really fast around this one for some reason. Like, I feel like some of them, the obstacles are slightly smaller. The whole scale is smaller. So when I fly, it feels like I'm going way, way faster than on some of the other ones. But yeah, this level, I like this kind of thing. There's a bunch of, well, look at this little cave to fly through. Look at this thing with weird flat textures. You see that? There's no textures. It's like gray, zero shading. That was weird. I wonder if that's like a glitch. Or if somebody just forgot to add mapping to everything. Where was that? It was in I cut through a cave and it was weird. Yeah, this level is cool. Oh, there's the cave. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. See, look at that. No textures. It gives you. That is very strange. Oh, cool. And I crashed again in the same spot. Fire. Oh, jeez. Well, I'm still flying. What else is in Death Valley? Death Valley is super neat. There's what is it called? Like Artist Palette. I think it's the name of this rock area. It's so pretty. And I've been by that area twice, and it's not on the Badwater course. Like the I've taken a whole bunch of videos at both the Badwater 2022 and the one in 2024, and I have never edited them together. I'm lost in a cave. You ever see those cave spelunker guys that go down and crawl in those little just crazy crevices and stuff? I'm like, dude, this is so awful. Is it FPV skydive, FPV drone simulator? Oh, this one is Velocidrone is the simulator, which I was told by a bunch of people this is the one to go with, and it flies really. It really does feel good. I was using DRL simulator for a little while, which has like some pretty cool perks, and I kind of like the boards. And there's enough. It's still like a decent simulator, but after flying this one, I feel like this one feels. I don't know. I feel like I have more control, and a lot of people that race have said that this one is like the most realistic feeling. So that's why I spend most of the time in there. I went back to the other one recently just for like a night, just to try it, and it felt so like to turn like this, to do like a, like a flip, or like if I was go backwards, it does it so slowly that I don't feel like it's right. Like driving around, for the most part, the controls are similar. Like to do stuff like this, pretty similar, but that like flips and twists and stuff are not as sensitive. In a way, I feel like that's how I'm able to kind of like save myself sometimes in some of these situations. When I watch people really fly, the drones move like that. They can, and it's like I don't have experience with an FPV drone in real life, so I don't know. But I trust all of these experts. Let me see the entire map. Disney. Oh my god, that's a good idea. If I made the Magic Kingdom on this, like even if it was just like the main areas, like here's like Main Street, the castle, Frontierland, Tomorrowland, Fantasy. What is it? Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, Galaxy's Edge. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing. They have like a cartoon. The Disneyland has like a cartoon area. I mean, if it's full on Disney World, you could just take a trip over to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. MGM Studios is still what I would call it in my brain. Whoa, look at that. Can I go underwater? This level's pretty cool. I like this one. This is called Temple of Doom. I can remember that. I used to do spelunking when I was younger. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm like down to go down in some caves and stuff, but some of the way these guys go is just so sketchy. Well, look at that plane. I was like, man, if you get stuck, that's it. If your boot catches something on a rock, that's it. You're never coming out of this hole, and you're just stuck in a worse position. You're just gonna like be there till you die. It sounds like the worst way to go ever. Lately, I've been using a helicopter simulator, and they're harder to fly than an FPV drone. That's crazy. I'd like to try those. A friend of mine in Florida, he flew model airplanes, and they had a simulator for flying RC planes. And it's crazy because like the first person, it's so, you kind of, for the most part, you know where you're at. But when you're flying a plane and it doesn't have a camera, you're just watching it, like this little thing flying around. You're far away and you can't tell what direction it's facing. And then you gotta like fly it back toward yourself and do everything right. It feels pretty crazy. I mean, get used to it quick. I drove RC cars for a long time when I was a kid, so that like reversing left and right when something's coming back at you is not a problem for me. But it still was like a little bit of, there's more like dynamic kind of movements going on, and when you're looking at it from another angle, it's just like how. I didn't do it very long either. I didn't get to practice much, but it was fun. I should probably get one of those too. I've got a controller here. May as well practice RC planes. There's actually an RC plane field about 10 minutes from my house, and every time you go out there, there's people flying RC planes. It looks really fun. I would love to have an RC plane. I would love to do an RC plane, but with the camera. Like I've seen a couple of them that are, like an FPV RC plane. That sounds really, really fun. They'll put the headsets that are on a little, pan and tilt. So when you move your head around, the camera actually looks around like you're looking around in the plane. That sounds very cool to me. You can like fly at FPV, but it feels like you're in the plane. That seems like a real fun time. Yeah, I should check out a helicopter simulator. Just right before I came on here, it's actually what made me think about this, is in my YouTube feed, a guy got one of these little like micro helicopters, and I had one I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and it was fun, but it was not easy to fly. It was just, cheap, little fun thing. And this looked the same, but it had way better controls. It was more, I guess more like a flying a drone, and it had, some things to help it stay level and so forth that some of the older helicopters did not have. It looked cool. It was a little tiny Airwolf drone. They have really high-end RC trucks. I love almost anything RC. That's the name. I believe that. Yeah, I've always liked them too. Since I was a kid, I had a lot of RC cars. From the time I was probably, I'm trying to remember how old I was when I got my first RC car. It was either like late elementary school or early middle school, and I drove those things so much. I mean, just obsessively over and over and over. I remember having like 3 battery packs. I always have one on the charger while I was driving, like they'd be rotating through. And I would just, I would spend all day driving this thing around. It was so fun. And what's crazy is randomly, the guy down the street from me, when I was a kid, it was like, an adult guy, they built an RC car track in my road. I used to live on a road in Florida, in Hobe Sound, Florida, called Alguzini Place. And if you look, the road goes down. It goes all the way through from A1A, or like right by A1A to US 1. But there was like a section of it, probably like, I don't know, 400 yards or something. Or maybe maybe about 400 yards. It didn't go through, but it was still like a road. Like you could drive a car through it if you wanted to, but it was all like sandy and just like not maintained. And there were no houses in that section. And this guys lived down the street from me built an RC car track, and that guy had a Tamiya Falcon, I think, and it was way nicer. I had like a Hornet. It was way nicer than my car, but I was still like wanted to go drive with those guys all the time. And they built the track, had a bunch of jumps, and it was freaking cool. And it was right at the end of my street. I was very lucky that they did that. I didn't know them well, but I was like, I have an RC car. And it was quite fun. I have one of the mini helicopters for in the house just to play and get used to the controls. Dude, that kind of actually sounds like the same one I looked at. They had two models. I literally think that was the other model. Do they make one that looks like Airwolf? Because the one that he showed a picture of both, and one was just like helicopter, and one was like themed like Airwolf. But it was like you said, it's like S107. I think the other one was literally like the 106 or 105 or something. It was like another number, but it was like the same kind of. It looked like that designation. I could be wrong, but they were small little guys, and it was little controller, everything came with it. Do you have better scaled leg files I could use for my next suit? Maybe in exchange for a printer. I don't like how Jesse's are too big for normal wear. I don't know. I have never looked at the scale on his. I'm working on legs. They'll be on my Patreon when I do them. And I actually I don't know if you saw on the the 3PO boards today. Somebody had posted about the color of the 3PO arms, like the red arm, and we were going back and forth about all that stuff, and I was looking at pictures of the sequel suit, and I honestly would kind of like to do sequel style. There's like things about the sequel suit that I like, even though I love the originals. I would like to do a sequel version as well. And I'm trying to think of like where could I hit the limit or the the fine line between what looks like original suit and the certain aspects of the sequel suits where I like the symmetry of the legs in the sense the shape is kind of the same, but I like the asymmetry of the head, and I like the asymmetry of the shorts. It's really tricky to kind of like how do I formulate my own version. But anyway, as far as legs, I'm going to do a set of legs that will be essentially screen use size from the original trilogy, and just because Jesse's have they're much closer to like a sequel trilogy design, even though they're not really truly like sequel trilogy copies or replicas. They're sort of generic 3PO legs, and they're well done, but they're really, really clean. But yeah, I'll have to check. When I get my files kind of together more, I'll bring Jesse's files in just to compare the size, and I'll do it on the live stream or something when I'm in ZBrush. But it's going to be a little bit because I haven't started doing my scan cleanup on my 3D leg scans yet. And my friend Sydney that does a bunch of those makeups that I'm in for RBFX, he just bought a better scanner than the one that I use, so I may rescan the parts since I haven't gone into them too much. I brought them into the computer, and brought them into ZBrush to set the files up, but I haven't done anything to them, any cleanup. But I might just scan them again and just get maybe a higher res scan from the beginning. Parts for drones and helicopters. What's a good 3D printer for a starter? There are so many good printers out now. Everybody loves Bamboo Labs. They're real fast, and they can print with like kind of more exotic materials, like hotter materials. So you can print with like nylon and stuff. Now nylon is really, really strong, but it's a little flexy. So if you're going to make drone parts, I would assume you need to stiffen them up a little bit. But if you're making like a little micro, like mini whoops and stuff, I feel like you could get away with like ABS, which is really, really stiff, and it's plenty strong for that. I don't think you need to you could mimic a carbon frame and just give it like a little reinforcement ridge along the top. It'd probably be just as stiff, I would imagine. I remember getting it for Christmas and the battery wasn't charged. I was devastated having to wait 24 hours to get it running. Oh my god, dude, the worst. Waiting for stuff to charge the first time, and you're just so antsy. And that was like with my RC cars. They use those like the 7.2 volt, those like the whatever size batteries those are, like 6 cell kind of NiCad batteries is what I had when I was a kid. Now everything's using LiPo and stuff, but they were like NiCad batteries and 7.2 volt if I remember correctly. And it was a big deal because I got one of those like 15-minute chargers. Like I could like click it up and it would charge real fast. And the thing is, with those NiCad batteries, they would build like a memory. So if you constantly like ran them to a certain point and then swapped them, the amount of charge it would hold would start to go bad. You'd have to like put them on a trickle charger all the time to like kind of care for the batteries. And my friend Tim was like, he was really just smart guy when it came. We were like in high school, and he just had all these cool tricks for doing his cars. Like his RC cars, the same setup as everybody else's, would somehow the batteries would always last like 5 minutes longer. And he was always faster. We'd have the same motors, same setups. I'm like, what the hell are you doing to your cars to make them better? But he would always do like little things. Like he would just always oil his bearings and his wheels, and he had his shocks all dialed in really good, and he'd always take care of his batteries. And he'd made to trickle charge or to discharge the batteries. He just made these strings with a connector, a regular battery connector, and then it would just have like a little light bulb on one end. So when you plug it in, the light bulb would just drain the battery like dead, and you just leave it plugged into that light bulb. It was like such a good way to make sure you didn't build up a memory on the battery. It was really worked great. And yes, I'm old enough. Bamboo Labs. Okay, wrote it down. Bamboo Labs, real. They're really good. Now, there's been a little controversy with them recently because of a firmware update that they put out, and a lot of people were worried that they're going to try to, they basically have more control over your printer. I guess there was a slicer called an Orca slicer. I've never used it, but a lot of people that use Bamboo Labs really like the Orca slicer, and apparently the Bamboo Labs update was making it so that it was harder to use aftermarket slicers and software. They wanted to try to like keep it more proprietary, which I think is annoying. I think if you buy a printer, you should be able to use whatever slicer works for it. They shouldn't purposely disable stuff. That's kind of like some shit that Apple would do, and I fucking hate that. I hate that Apple does that. I probably just got my video demonetized. You know what's so crazy? Speaking of demonetization, anytime I was sculpting on my 3PO shorts, those live streams would have like monetization, like partially disabled, and I'd have to go contest it. And then they would manually review it, and then they would re-enable monetization on those videos. But it was real weird. I think it was just because the AI thinks I'm like showing genitals or something. I don't know what the deal was. But Elegoo's coming out with the competition that doesn't have the lockdown issues. Yeah, Elegoo is great, and Creality has another machine that is supposed to be fast, like the Bamboo Labs. It's called oh my god, I can never think of the name. This phrase. It's called it's called like shape smoothing or something like that. But that's not right. But basically it can run really, really, really fast, and what it does is it can anticipate like the weight of the the carriage and everything for the printer and how much everything weighs, and it factors that into the movement so that it can run really, really fast and still get really clean prints, but they're print really fast. And that's like the one thing my Prusa print's great, but the new Bamboo are so much faster, and then the prints look just as good. But yeah, Bamboo Labs really great. Elegoo makes good printers. There's a lot. There's a whole bunch, and you could probably get a printer that's a year or two old that prints great, prints just fine, and just not quite as fast. But it's one of those things, like, if you're just printing stuff in the background while you're doing other things, you're not going to notice it. But if you're in a production environment, I think it's easy to get spoiled when you have a printer that prints so fast. It's just like, oh, I'm just going to use this one all the time, because, I mean, my big printers, I have a 0.8 millimeter nozzle, and when I'm printing, like, one of the things I'm printing right now is like head sized, and to print it on my Prusa was going to be, I can't remember how many hours. It was like, I don't know, a decent amount of hours to print it, and I can print it way faster, like half the time, on my big printer with the big nozzle. And it's like, that'll be fine. But yeah, there's a lot of good printers out there, and there's a bunch of resin printers that are really good too. I don't know if they would like be great for doing drone parts, but they're getting so cheap to run, and the resins are getting better and better and better and sturdier all the time. I actually think that I'm probably going to do a set of 3PO arms in resin. Like, once I have them really dialed, I'm going to do a set in resin and mold them so I can make them out of like a, just cast them whenever I want out of like a flexible urethane, or like a semi-rigid urethane, I should say. It's not like a urethane rubber, it's more like a semi-flexible resin. Automation nerd here. So yeah, so old school things that folks should build their own printer to understand how it works. But I know, oh my god, I agree with that 100%. My first printer was a G-Tech i3, and it was like every freaking nut and bolt I had to build. And on that one, I'm an idiot. I didn't realize that there was like software for it. Like presets. It had a slicer, and then it had a program that ran it. So it was plugged into my computer all the time. So that printer, I never did like that thing where you swap the memory cards over. I was always just on my computer, and you could see like the live version of what it was doing. But I didn't know any settings, so I had to figure out all of the settings for that printer on my own, and I just figured experiments until I figured it out, and it kind of sucked, but I learned so much about printing. My Prusa, I bought the kit for that and put that one together. That was like a similar kit. The other printers I had, I got like the ANET, A3, and my Creality printers were all partially disassembled, but they weren't like, it wasn't like putting together the Prusa or the ANET. The other, what is the Prusa and the G-Tech? Those are the two. Those were like every nut and bolt had to be put into that printer. But you learn so much. If something breaks, you really know like what it's going to take it apart and fix it. It's not that bad, and it makes me less afraid to go in there and do things to the printer if it needs it. So I fully agree with that. If you can get a kit, I would say definitely do that. Yes, just scared to. Yes, I'm not scared to make my own if it's good. Nice. I feel that way about these doing drones. I'm actually really excited to like get going. I feel like I'm gonna buy a kit just to get started, and then literally start building my own after that. I feel like the components are so generally seem pretty straightforward. I just want to have one in my hand so I can kind of like look at how it goes together and make sure I'm doing it right. I'm gonna print your Schwartz file in Flex PLA. That's cool. Let me know how that goes with the Schwartz too, because I'm about to print. I think I'm going to print a second pair, because from the first pair that I printed to the ones I put on Patreon, I did a few tweaks, and I'm going to use both. Like, I'm going to just prep them both and just have them ready to go, because shorts wear out, and if something breaks or whatever, I can just swap to the other pair, or if they just wear out, whatever the deal is, and then I'll just repaint them for a droid that's not gold. Oh, that was the thing too on the talking about the 3PO red arm today on the forums, and then how somebody commented like, oh, because he's not shiny gold. I was like, that suit is totally shiny, and the red arm is gold underneath that red. Like if you take that red paint off, it's gold on the bottom. And I know this because I had to replace the little elbow mount for the piston, and because the original one was missing on the real suit, and it is definitely gold underneath there. They just took a gold arm, painted it red. I love that Patreon is short. The way of fitting it is. So I will be making a 2-part that's more similar to the vacuform version, which makes it a little easier to get in and out of, because like even with mine, it's like they fit me, but I do have to do a little shimmy to get my butt in there, but I can get them on. But the 2-piece ones would definitely be easier. Look at this. Let me see. I gotta fly this way. Oh. It's what's fun about chatting while I fly is I kind of just mindlessly do stuff, and I feel like it feels so easy when I'm not thinking about it, and that is cool. Just getting that like natural feel for exploring things. I mean, I'm doing pretty okay today, you know, considering. Again, I think it's one of those things that the sooner I start thinking about flying the drone, the quicker I start crashing out. No. Brad, yeah, he's sort of a wannabe expert. I feel. Yeah, he definitely wants to say things. And I came across his stuff. Like, he did versions of he's got stuff on Etsy. And I was like, oh, look at this. He did some mods that were like kind of like sequel style torso. He did a decent job on it, but it definitely, like, the details they're clean, but he did them rounded for some reason instead of squared off on the edges. The real suit ones, especially the sequel suits, the details are really crisp, like squared edges. They're not rounded profiles on everything. And it's funny, I was looking on the thing because I posted on the arm picture. I had to match the paint because I had to redo the pistons and the little elbow piece for the screen used red arm. They were just missing those parts, so I needed to go get a paint match. So what I did is I went to the paint store and I just got like every red paint that was kind of like in that area, every single one that they had. I just got all of these swatches, tons of them. And I went in to the real red arm, and there's like an area about, I'm talking to my phone over here, there's an area about this big that's barely has any weathering on it. So I was like, okay, that spot is like the cleanest of the whole arm paint-wise. So I took all my swatches and I like set them right to that area. Looked at it until I found one that was like almost a perfect match. I mean, it's basically a match, but there was still a little bit of weathering on the arm. And in the picture, it's like, here's the swatch, and then the other part of the red is the actual red arm from the movie. It's like that is the color. It's not me holding up to a picture of it. It's like I had the arm in my hand, and I'm holding the swatches up. So, again, it's not the type of paint that they use, but that color matches really, really perfectly. So if you take that swatch, I put the name, I can't remember what it was called, but I put the name of the swatch there, so you can get that, and you can find another paint company. Someone mentioned Montana colors, and I'm betting it probably is a Montana brand spray paint, because I know that the production was using those paints for a lot of things, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's not a Montana version of that paint. Who's Brad? He's a guy on the 3PO Builder forums, and he seems like a nice guy. He's real into it, but definitely like very sure of himself about things that he's not necessarily right about from time to time. But again, he's contributing a lot. And these things are tricky. It's hard to like know stuff for sure, you know. Absolute IG11 is high on to work on. I'd love to get my hands on Rolls Royce pieces. I have all the molds for those. So, speaking of which, I have, which are crazy right here. I'm going to show this. Hold on a second. Right here. Oh, right off camera. This. I'm gonna switch to my real camera for a second so you can see this. No. Where is it? There we go. Hold on a second. We're gonna switch to me. Bam. Right here is in a bag. This is a genuine Rolls Royce. This is the actual flame, the outer canister. You see those colored stickers all over it. That's because I was scanning this because I'm going to do a digital version of this. But this is the outer part, the part that's like IG88's head or IG11's head or the Cantina canisters. I have a real one of those too, and that lives inside this part. So on the engine, this is like the Rolls-Royce Derwent jet engine. There's a whole array of these around the engine, and inside each one of these is the combustor liner is what the actual part is called. That's the IG88 head or the Cantina canisters lives inside of one of these. So I have one of these, and I have the real Rolls-Royce inner liner as well, which is the one that I molded and made all the copies for Galaxy's Edge. So the ones that are Galaxy's Edge in both Florida and in California are copies of mine that I have here that I made. So if you're ever interested, Anthony hated the red arm so much that they digitally changed the arm in the last shot. I know he has his gold arm back in the last shot because they had to show that he fixed it. And it was funny because I remember seeing the shots when they filmed it, it was red. And I remember pointing out, I was like, oh, they did that in post because I saw the final scenes, photos from that day. It was red on the day. So yeah, he swapped it back to the gold. What's funny is I didn't hate the red arm. I actually thought it was kind of cool that it was so, I mean, he already had, the silver shin for all the, original trilogy. And I just liked that they never said anything. If they would have just had him have a red arm and just never mentioned it, I mean, it's just like, oh, if something happened, I had to swap it. It's like I got a flat tire and I had to run to the used tire place and get a replacement until I could go get the matching tires or something. I always like that. But yeah, so anyway, this part, like I said, those little stickers I put all over it, so when I scanned it, my scanner would kind of have something to latch on to. So I'll be putting this model up as well. These are in the Cantina also, and they're also on that giant, like before they go into the Cantina outside, there's this huge chunk of a ship, and there's a whole bunch of these on the outside of it. And they show up in a few other spots as well. But it took me forever to find one of those. So that thing came up. I can't remember who I got that from. But it's real. It's made in like 1942 or something. It's really old. It's crazy. It's like over 80 years old. And then the same thing with the other part. He thought it was a bit clunky and overt. That is also true. It is a little bit clunky and overt. I thought if they made 3PO overall look more beat up in the sequels, I thought that would have been good. If he was like slightly dirtier. I mean, they did this haze. There's something about the weathering in the sequels that I don't know how I feel about it. I don't dislike it. Actually, there's an aesthetic that I think it kind of looks nice, but I also don't think it fits with the original trilogy stuff. Whereas like in Empire Strikes Back, 3PO is just filthy. And then in New Hope, he gets just so filthy throughout the movie, and then by the end of the movie they clean him up, and I love it. Throne room, he's all clean, it looks nice. Same in Empire, they clean him up, and Jedi, they clean him up. But like Jedi, he's all just hazy. But Empire is my favorite look. He just looks just like, I don't know, it's just dirty, it's mottled, it just doesn't look like an overall like sprayed down, whereas in the sequel trilogy it looks like they basically just like sprayed him with a deadener so he wouldn't be too reflective on camera. It feels like too airbrushed or something. Alright, I'm gonna go back to flying here. Now that I've shown off, I feel like I did my show and tell. Okay, I go back to the simulator. I'm gonna fly around. What time is it? So I've been on about an hour. So I probably have to call it soon. I gotta go check all my 3D prints, make sure nothing is failing before tomorrow, because I gotta have these things tomorrow. I gotta be at the studio at 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's kind of far, so I gotta leave here by like 9:45 because it's LA and traffic here is awful. And I gotta go all the way to downtown LA. It's gonna be awesome. What's crazy is that red arm, the sequel suit arms, they have the exact same issue that my current 3D arms are awesome, but this arm right here, I don't know if you guys can see this behind me. I don't know it. I can't see myself in the camera. Hold on a second. Let me go camera time. But bam, this arm here is my last ones. I have officially retired these, but these have an error, an inaccuracy that is exactly like the sequel arms, and I feel like whoever modeled the sequel arms went through the exact same thing that I did. Like, I modeled these arms off of photos from original trilogy arms, but I could not make them work right. Like, if I modeled them from, like, if I was looking at them from the front this way, like the inside of my elbow. Let me take this off. You can look at my arms really quick. Like, if we were doing this where, like, if we're looking at the inside of my arm here, my arm's bending this way, the way the cutout is a really specific shape. But if I turn my arm this way, and the way that the side of the elbow's cut is a really specific shape. And if you look at an original trilogy arm and you model it from one side or the other, the arm won't work right. And I could not figure it out for the life of me. I'm like, it's just, if I do this, then the arm doesn't bend to 90 degrees. But if I make it so the arm will bend to 90 degrees, now the cutout in the front is not the right shape. It made me nuts. So this was like I settled on this look. I have another one of these arms. I have another one of these arms in here somewhere. Right here. So the shape is kind of like cut, it kind of scoops right here. And the prequel arms are just like this. Or sorry, not prequel. The sequel arms are just like this, exactly. But I didn't copy this on sequel arms. This was just me coming to like I'm just got to make it work the way I want. And so that's what I came up with. Sequel arms are just like that. And now that I got the new arms that are like based on scans, I understand the shape more, but it's kind of hard to even explain it without seeing it in person. But what's crazy is on the sequel arms, Anthony Daniels has this little patch of like plastic that's inside the elbow here. And I know that they did that because it pinches. Like, it'll grab your skin and like pinch it. The old arms wouldn't do that because the way the arm was designed, the bicep came down into the forearm when you bent it, and it kept that meat from pinching out right there. And so on all the sequel arms have this weird little strip of plastic on the inside. And when they showed it initially, I was like, why did they do that? But now that I've made my own arms, I understand it. Anyway, that's a really rambly thing, but it made me feel a little like justified that I wasn't crazy. I'm like, I've modeled these things so many times, and the fact that I just I could not for life me figure it out. I'm like, there's something I'm missing. I can't see it. Got to sleep for tomorrow's flight. Good to see you back on live. I'll be back in like 2 days too. I'm curious to see how this shoot goes for you. Definitely try to get out to the desert if you can, if you're still here. But good luck on your shoot. Should be fun. Tell them I said hello. They'll probably be like, that guy, He doesn't like us. Next time you stream, I'd love a tour of your background pieces. Yeah, absolutely. So everything's here right now. Currently, like down here, let me see if I can tilt the camera down. I've got some more droids on the floor down here. I've got another RE7 down here. I got my leg lamp over here, a 3PO lamp. I've got some shoulder pieces here. I got to move these. These are some shoulder rings. Don't know. I've got my first draft Rancor. Bam. It's studio scale, scanned from the real prop. And this was my initial print that I did when I was working on the one for Regal Robot. So you can see that the tail is, this is what the tail looks like in the archives. It's all twisted up. And then I fixed the tail on the one we did for Regal Robot that they sold. I resculpted the whole tail for it. And this was our initial scan. So Regal Robot's in New York and I'm in California, and so I was working on it digitally, and I printed that full scale, and then Tom printed his full scale so that we could compare them and take notes, so that they have some direction for the one that the Regal Robot did. So this was my initial print, just so that I could look at it in person, like in real life. And I have that. I also have one of the Regal Robot ones down in a box. I haven't. One day I'll display that one instead of this one, but this is just here because it's just cool. And the thing is, because it's just like a cheap print, if it were to break, it's not like a big deal. Something that happened. Let's see. And then let's see. Oh, by the way, if you're able to put your shoulder ring files, not the ones spin on Thingiverse, I'd really like to use them. I'll see what I can do. I have to go through and see where they're at, because what would happen is I would make some, and then if they were not quite right, I would end up modifying the file, and the version that I put out, I would have to go look for it and see if I still have that version. I might. I have to go look and see, and I'll post them on. You're on my Patreon. I'll probably put them on Patreon instead, because they're sort of weird, and they're gonna fit the torsos that I'm gonna put on my Patreon. All those shoulder files will fit my torsos. I don't know if they'll fit Jesse's torso at all. I mean, you might be able to scale them, but I have no idea whether they'll fit his or not. But they're screen accurate to size. Everything's the exact scale of the screen used, so I don't know if they fit Jesse's, but I'll put them on my Patreon, and you can download it from there. If you're on there, you'll have access to them. And then the other one that I'm working on here too is the RX droid. This is from, we did the ones for Book of Boba Fett, and this is like literally all these pieces. If you took the Book of Boba Fett ones and pull the parts off, they would all fit on. They're compatible. This is like the same. These are the files for the same droids. But what I'm doing right now is I'm redoing the full inside. So the like exterior is going to look exactly like the screen used, but I'm totally redoing the interior of them. I don't know if I can share those. I have to ask and find out. But we'll see. But it's basically going to be, exactly to the specs of a screen-used droid, but just simplified inside, so they're not so hard to print. I love things like this. I'm a huge geek at heart. I'm old enough to have gotten some of the original New Hope toys as a kid for Christmas and birthdays. Same. I grew up with those things. They're like all over. If you've looked on, I actually don't know where my figures are, but I have for years and years, for like since, I don't know, 2010 or something, I have carried around my one of my C-3POs and one of my R2s, and they come with me everywhere. And so anytime I travel out of anywhere, I usually bring them and I take a picture with them somewhere. And the other day, I've had them in the same backpack for a long time, and I have them in a specific pocket. And I had pulled them out. I did a trip and I took them out of the bag and put them in another backpack. And now I don't know where they're at. and I hope I didn't drop them somewhere, because that would be really sad. They've gone like all over the world with me. They've been like Korea and Japan and all over Europe and all over the United States and just like, freaking everywhere. So gotta find them. Have a good night. Love the new decor. Great streaming background. Yeah, man, thank you so much. My freaking wall. It's the ceiling up here too is all like, it's gonna be themed out even more, but this is all that I've finished so far. Kind of like that side's not quite done yet, but it'll be there. Thank you, man. Have a fun time on your Vegas trip. Gamble lots and stuff. It'll be cool. I should probably log. I've been on over an hour, and I have to go keep up with the prints. But if I come back on in a little bit to work on stuff for ZBrush, I will stream it. I'm gonna do one more quick flight here while I got this thing open, because I kind of like got carried away. Let me see. Did I switch it over? I did. Okay. Make sure I'm flying here. Sometimes I'll start doing stuff and I realize I didn't switch to the other screen, and everybody's just looking at me like staring at things. And immediately crashed. So I'm gonna do one more. It's addictive. It's so addictive. But yeah, there'll be more stuff too. My room is full of weird crap everywhere. So feel free to ask about the things, and then I'll tell you all the stories I can. I'm trying to think what else. I'm building that RA7 droid that's on the floor. I'm going to build it up as a statue, because it matches exactly the one that's back over here is the one that I wore on Skeleton Crew, and Jude Law touched it, which is pretty cool. But the one that's on the floor is, I used the same files to make that one, but since then I've made some changes to the files, real subtle stuff. But my next version of the costume is going to be a little different. So I decided that I'm going to take the files that I've made already and turn them into just like a display statue. I'll probably sell that eventually once I get it done. So I'm trying to get all those pieces together. I've got like the arms and the shoulders and the shorts and stuff outside, and I got a set of legs started for that RE7 droid. But yeah, I don't know what color to do it. I'll probably build it out, prime it, and then if someone wants it, I'll do it in some whatever color that they're interested in seeing it in. And hopefully it's cool. Your droids are probably whatever my wallet in left socks. Damn left socks grammar. No, it should be cool. And then same thing. The CZ3 is supposed to be a costume build, but he's almost wearable right now. And there's a bunch of little greebly bits that I've not finished, and I can't share the files for that one. A lot of people have asked me. I cannot share the files for it, but I think I'm going to do a foam fab version of the chest, because it's a really good candidate for foam fabrication. Just the shapes of it would be really easy to recreate with foam. It'd be really comfortable and look exactly the same. And I can make foam files for it, but I can't share the 3D files. But the foam files will be accurate to the 3D files. So, technically speaking, if you were to build one, it should look, 92% like a screen used one, minus like whatever, little shortcuts would I take. But overall, it'd be pretty indistinguishable to someone that didn't know the differences. All the measurements would be the same and everything. It would be compatible with the shoulder rings, all that. But it'd be foam fab, so you could make it for really, really cheap, and it'd be easy to wear. You could put it on by yourself. You wouldn't need like some wrangler to put this stupid torso on and screw you in. As far as the helmet goes, I can't do the helmet, unfortunately. I might be able to do arms, maybe 3D printed legs, definitely foam fab legs. But yeah, it'd be cool to like make that sort of like a wearable thing for everybody. I think that would be pretty neat. In case you In the case where you can't, the files, are you allowed to share the, sorry, hold on, let me see something really quick. Are you allowed to share the BOM, i.e. the source of your parts? I mean, I could tell you where I could tell you what they're some of them are scanned from the original prop. I'm trying to think. Some of them were scanned, like the CZ3 was done for Regal Robot. So like Regal Robot released a head and a bust of that droid, and I was like, look, I will trade you the cost of doing this thing for hang on a second, I just did something weird, hold on, all stream recording is shut down, are you sure you want to exit? No. I actually almost closed the stream. Like the CZ3 is from the archives, it's from Lucasfilm Archives. Oh, let's see where the stuff came from. The Rolls Royce. Bill of materials. Gotcha. Where the stuff came from. So, the Rolls Royce parts. They're from England. They're not screen used. They're from like old jet engines. I'm trying to remember where I got this one from. They both came from Europe. The Rolls Royce. I'm trying to remember who sold that. A guy bought a whole engine. And he took it apart. He was selling all the pieces, and I got the interior part for like $500, which is cheap at the time. I think every time I'd found them were like $750 or $800. We sell them for $500, and included shipping from the UK. And I bought it right when I moved to California. I actually bought it when I was in Florida, and they shipped it to the house I was going to be at in California. So like it got to California the day before I moved here. Like I got in and it was here waiting for me. And then this part, it came from somewhere else. This part is like, it's in really good shape. There's no dents or anything, but it's not as clean. Like the combustor liner is really clean. It's in like a box downstairs somewhere. I have to unpack it. I have the castings of it. So I made the molds. I did all the castings. They're all over the damn place. If you saw any of the cantina scenes on Mandalorian, and you see like, the bar, I made the castings that are in there. Not of this part. Somebody else made this part that I'm showing back here. Somebody else did these. I'm going to turn this back onto me. For Mandalorian, like the ones you see behind the bar, I did not make these for Mandalorian, but I did make the other ones that are like the IG-88 heads. And then, August Cantina and Galaxy's Edge, the Scum and Villainy bar in Hollywood, I did them for that, and I've sold a bunch of them for collectors and stuff. I made a lot of those things. I don't think I'm communicating well. I mean, you share files for Bill. Are you allowed to say what was... Sorry. There's like this stupid icon on my phone that covers up part of the text. Like, I mean, when you can't share files for a build, are you allowed to say what was used for the scratch build if you know what it is? Let me see. I don't think I quite understand. I mean, if you can't share the files for a build, are you allowed to say what was used for the scratch build if you know what it is? I don't think I quite understand that sentence. Like, are you saying, like, can I tell what, like what it was used for, why I can't share them? Is that what you mean? I mean, a lot of times it's like covered in some NDA, like a place will, like a product will be being made, and like for RA7, for example, I worked on something that is what agreeably is. If I know what it is, I can tell you all that stuff. Especially if it's like old, like something in the past. There's a page called it used to be around. I haven't looked in a long time. It's called Parts of Star Wars, and like any like stuff that people have figured out what it is, they share it. Like there's a lot of stuff on 3PO that I'm sure are found components. They're found items, like the thing on the back of his head. It's on his belly. They're like all over the place. in Star Wars, the little thing in his neck. What else? There's some other pieces that are like they're found elements, and I just don't know what they're from. I've looked everywhere for years, and same thing, like the things on 3PO's knees. You find them all over Star Wars in different places. There's like some machine part that they just got like boxes of. If I know what things are, I'll definitely tell you what it is. But some of them are like, some of the things I know, I don't know the exact part, but I kind of know what it's used for. Like the thing in RE7's chest, it looks like a port where you would plug in like an audio port or some kind of electrical plug. It's real specific, like it's keyed, so the thing can only go in a certain way, and there's little pins in there. It's like clearly it's like a plug for something, and yeah, it's tricky. Like CG3's eyes, the actual eyes are like these little metal. They're metal pieces. They look like found items. And CG3's mouth, right there. Man, I spent months looking around because it looks kind of like the interior of like a light. Like if you take a aircraft light and you pull the cover off, and there's like a reflective thing on the inside. It looks like they used something like that for that part, but I don't know. I can't tell. And the only thing, like NDAs are more like certain things, like if I'm working on something that's going to be a product or for a film or something, if it's going to be in a film and it's new, I probably wouldn't even show it until like after the thing comes out. And then once it's out, like this droid here, once it's out, it really just depends on like how, like sometimes there's like a gray area. Like I am like, I can't produce these. I really shouldn't give out files for certain things just because somebody will get bent out of shape about it. But if I change it, I don't know, or if I make them and sell them, I'm not really giving out the files. So I don't know. Some of them are just such a gray area that I don't want to get myself in trouble more than anything else. Yeah, there's some stuff where there's like a mountain of things that I have never told anybody about. I can't post online. There's a ton of things like that where I'm just like, I worked on it. I can't say anything. I'm not allowed. I'm just not allowed. I should, like, for like in person, I might be like, but like I usually can't go into detail even then. And then sometimes you'll get like the heads up, like, we're allowed to talk about that we did this, but I can't show behind the scenes photos. For example, like without getting approval, or I have to ask for production. You have to like send a formal letter and ask for permission to like show certain photos. It's such a pain that they make it such a pain, so you just don't do it. And every once in a while I'll see like a slew of pictures come out from like all my friends that worked at a studio will post like, here's all these creatures that we worked on, but like 5 different people I know will post at the same time. So it's almost like whoever was in charge is like, okay, you're allowed to share these photos here. And, the bosses give them some pictures, but yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff I got pictures of that I can't put them up anywhere. I got like hundreds and hundreds of them like that. But it's a bummer. I think like one day, I'll be able to put them out somewhere. And I still use them for some stuff. I still use for portfolio. I can't share them, but I keep them like, I don't think it's bad. Like it's not hurting anything. I just can't put online like certain things. And it was crazy. My friend's shop, he makes a lot of stuff for film industry, and he has in his contracts, I think this is a really good idea, that after the thing comes out, obviously you can't share spoilers and that kind of thing, but after the production comes out, that he's allowed to share behind the scenes pictures. And if you don't want him to share behind the scenes pictures, then there's like a 20% increase in the price of the product, because use it for your own marketing. So it's like, if I can't use that, then I got to market myself a different way, and that's going to cost me more money. So he makes that a good contract, and that's pretty freaking cool. Appreciate we do share that. Thank you very much. I try to share what I can, and it's like some of it's like I said, there's a gray area, and I'm like, like I definitely can't share photos. it hits a point where something's out and it's around, and I can be like, oh, I worked on that thing. If we're in person, I could point at it, do it, but I couldn't like just post photos everywhere and stuff like that. I don't know. It's really it's tricky. And some stuff is totally fine. Some stuff's like, check it out. Some people, after it's out and it's not a spoiler anymore, go for it. Share whatever you want. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. And then like, there's things that I've done myself that I made, and there's things I initially was going to share, but then someone's like, hey, I'll give you money to not share it so that we can make that thing. And I'm like, all right. So then I get paid to to basically hand over my files and then maybe like alter them for a product, but now the ones that I have are too close to a thing that's going to be out, so now I just can't put my stuff out there. And sometimes it's like not out yet, or like in development or something, and I'm like, I don't know what I can say. So anyway, it's super fun times. Like the thing I'm doing this week, it's not really like super top secret thing, but it'll probably be out in like a couple weeks. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's all I can say. And that's most of my life. I had like 2 or 3 years where I barely made any YouTube videos. You look at my YouTube videos, I used to make videos all the time, and then I hit a point where I just like stopped because like, everything I was working on was under NDA for a while, and then I just like, I can't talk about anything. I can't even, like, if I look around my shop the wrong way, there's stuff there that I can't show. like oh, great. But anyway, all right, it is now 11. I gotta go. I need to go babysit my 3D prints and make sure everything's going right downstairs, and maybe back in a bit if I'm feeling up for more hours of ZBrush. But thanks for stopping by. It was fun hanging out with everybody, and I will be back probably the day after tomorrow, most likely Friday night, maybe Saturday morning. And